Android and iPhone users welcome. BlackBerry and Windows Phone users, we will accept you. The podcast going beyond the headlines. This is the GooplyCast. Now the host, Matthew Carter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GooplyCast. If you're listening to us as a podcast, consider coming to hang out with us live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube on Monday night, just after 8:30. Or, if you'd like to listen to us on the go, catch us after our live show on your favorite Android or iOS podcasting apps, as well as iHeartRadio.com. I'm your host, Matt Carter. With me today is Matt Evans. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
As well as Roy Czlapinski. Hey, Roy.
Hello.
And Tim Van Klaveren. Hey, Tim.
Hello.
So today we are going to be, well, actually, first, should we have a moment of silence?
Oh, yes.
Flash.
Adobe Flash.
Adobe Flash. It's gone, or as far as we can tell.
Well, it's still there, but like if you eventually your browser is not going to support it anymore. Tim, are you crying?
It's so far
sad
that Adobe is telling people to just get rid of it now. Like, just get rid of it.
Hello, Matt, and thank you. Welcome to the GooplyCast. My friend. We talk about tech here, and right now we're what is the word for reading a eulogy of sorts for Adobe Flash. And I have not cared about Flash for probably like 8 years.
I don't think people really used Flash except for in advertisements.
Flash games?
Like advertisement was like a big thing. Flash games too, but I mean a lot of people used advertisements for Flash. So yeah.
And like Unity and Unreal Engine are free now, and if you learn how to use them, you get like into the Unity Unreal pipeline with like games and movies and stuff. So it's like you could learn Flash, I guess. But no, everyone knows Flash is no longer worth it. No one's going to be supporting it now. It makes me happy.
I believe Microsoft came out and they said that the next version of Windows 10 they release will remove all Flash support.
That's crazy.
What's next? Where are they going to remove? What's going to die next?
Microsoft Silverlight.
So I will say. Well,
is that still a thing? Is that still around?
I have not seen it pop up on my computer telling me to install it at all on Windows 10, actually.
Yeah. Tim, you would know. Is Silverlight still around? Is that still a thing?
I don't think it is.
I mean, I remember trying to use a D&D program that Wizards of the Coast actually put out. This had to have been for 4th edition, and it ran on Silverlight. And I remember that every time I had to go and update my character, like I couldn't use Chrome. I had to go use Microsoft Internet Explorer if I wanted to make that work.
So dumb.
Think. Oh, final release was 2019.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Daniel says Silverlight hasn't been supported for a while now.
Good. Slowly we'll have a completely functional internet.
Okay, so it's good until October 12th of this year. So tune in for the Monday after October 12th for the special Rest in Peace Silverlight edition.
We should get some music, like a little violin, like when the Titanic was going overboard, like when the Titanic was going down and they were playing the music. Did anybody watch Titanic or?
Maybe we could get like a clip of Bill Gates playing an instrument and like overlay a violin on it.
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't watched Titanic since I watched it on 2 VHSs. It's been that long since I've watched it. Sorry, Matt.
I was just gonna say I did see that Microsoft is building a new version of Outlook. It's called One Outlook, and it's going to be replacing Windows Mail.
You can't just add the word "one" in front of things and think it sounds good.
It's OneDrive look that they're going with. So they got OneDrive, One Outlook.
I think OneNote and OneDrive sounds fine.
It's going to be One Outlook. It's going to be like One Outlook. So
why not
one have one Word, one Excel, one PowerPoint?
Just call it
It's,
mail.
it's like, yeah, just call it mail. It's like Apple though when they do these like crazy pricing or these crazy like
AirPods Pro Max.
gaming AirPod Pro Max
Which I still think is anyways. This name is bad, and hopefully the rest of 2021 is going to be okay. This is so far the worst thing that I've heard for 2021.
Well, you don't have to worry about it because I don't think it's going to come out till 2022, is what The Verge said. It's still in internal testing right now through Microsoft, so they might rename it something else. It might be called Outlook Lite.
I'd be okay with that. All right. So what are your guys' like goals for the new year? What are your tech goals? What are you guys looking to do, or I guess get or buy or make? What are you guys interested in?
Oh, I had a bunch of lists of things. I
can start with, okay. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right. So I bought an Oculus Quest 2, and that is Facebook / Oculus's just cordless VR system. You get a headset, you get 2 controllers. Cool. You can also use it with just hands, so you can go controller free and kind of pinch and grab things. If you've ever seen the Microsoft HoloLens, it's kind of like the HoloLens 2, where you can grab virtual objects in VR space and move it around. I wanted to get that because I saw this guy render his apartment in Unity, which we were kind of mentioning earlier. He made a 3D model of his entire apartment and was able to walk around in his apartment in VR space with whatever furniture he wanted, whatever pictures on the wall, internet browsers floating around everywhere, and it was mapped to his physical apartment. So when he bumped into like a chair or bumped into a table or something like that in real life, you could see that table in VR space. So that is my goal, is to make something like that for my apartment.
Did he? Do you feel the pain in your leg when you bump into the table or anything?
Oh no, that made me
That
think
would
like
be
I could do like
that would be so
radiating
good though.
pain.
Like if you did, like you bumped into something and you're like, oh damn, you put your leg down there.
The camera like forces you to look down to make sure everything is okay.
Yeah.
But like you can get like furniture and stuff from IKEA. They just give you object files for the furniture that they sell. So mostly so you can try it out to see how it looks in your space. So you can download just IKEA furniture and have it in your cool VR apartment. So that's what I'm looking forward to. What about you guys?
Well, I would really like to see Apple change their direction on gaming systems for the iPad and stuff, because I would really like to play Halo on my iPad. I don't plan on buying an Xbox, so they've said they're going to come out and support it on the iPad, but it'll be through Safari and through a web browser, and it's not likely to come out until 2021. So I would like to see that. I would like to see a cheaper version of the AirPod Max be released this year, maybe, because I just don't see buying AirPod Max. Is that what they're called?
AirPods Pro Max.
AirPod Pro Max, right?
Yeah, it's the iPhone Pro Max, but you just replace iPhone with AirPods. It's a lot of
No, it's AirPods.
Wait,
AirPod Max. It's AirPod
just
Max.
AirPods Max. There's
AirPod
no
Max.
Pro.
Yeah,
Because it should be
There's
Pro
no
Max.
Pro.
It's not.
there's no Pro.
There's
Yeah,
no Pro. I got confused. AirPod Max.
And that's why they're naming
Max.
And they
They
already have a Pro. That's the thing.
There's the AirPods
They
Pro.
have AirPod Pros.
AirPods.
But it's funny though, when I type in AirPods, Google comes up with Apple AirPods Max. Okay, yeah. So anyways, Apple AirPods Max. I would like to see a cheaper version of that. And I would like to see the Tile come out in 2021. And I would like to see some more VR stuff from Apple, maybe glasses, or something better. And then a Siri upgrade. Like Siri is really not very smart compared to some of the other smart speakers like Alexis. Oh, good. It didn't go off. But I'd like to see a bigger upgrade to Siri this year, where she gets smarter and learns new things and makes things. So those are my tech for New Year's resolutions that I'd like to see, changes.
What about you, Tim? Actually, first I wanted to say that Daniel absolutely want Neuralink. That's what I want this year. Just wanted to throw that out. I could give almost everything else that I want for this year away. Neuralink for like $1,200. Yeah. Sorry, Tim, go ahead.
Personal tech. I'm studying right now for my Network Plus certification. And so I need to finish that and actually take the exam before the exam expires. So that's my goal this year. And then I want to learn more with servers. I did a lot in 2020. I spent a lot of time at home learning about servers and stuff. I just recently learned VMware, so I'm trying to learn more about that kind of stuff. Maybe learn more about that kind of thing.
How long until you can hack the FBI?
Oh, I think I'm like 3 weeks
I
away.
don't know if you really want to
now.
discuss that.
Yeah. Good Lord, we're gonna get.
It was
flagged
just
now.
a question. It's not illegal to ask questions.
Oh, but first of all, he was about to answer. Okay?
Tim, just shut up. Don't say anything.
Sorry, man,
that 3 mainframes.
There's probably going to be a white van outside my place in the morning. I'm going to be like, damn.
Oh my god.
Other than that, nothing too like personal wise tech. I guess any tech purchases that I want. Nothing really. I'm pretty happy with all the tech I have. I would like to get. Actually, I want to buy a Cisco command line switch this year so I can learn that. But I just need to go on eBay and find one, and I've been lazy of doing that.
One of my coworkers just bought a house, and it has a switch, a built-in networking switch. It's a smart home. Has a built-in switch and server room in it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's got network ports throughout the house and everything and stuff like that, so you can hardwire everything into it. And then the Comcast or the internet comes into like one little thing. And he bought the house, and it's like, So
every house should have a server room.
Yeah, like legit. The more like smart devices that you have, and like speakers and like computers and stuff, the more you need like a dedicated center for making sure all that stuff is like connected and fast.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's awesome.
All right, Roy.
Roy, what about you?
Well, personally, for my own personal goals, I've been working on learning some front-end web development. I've learned some HTML basics, so I'm moving on to CSS basics, cascading style sheets, which at first sounds pretty intimidating, but I'm going to dive into that. So I'm hoping to really kind of get really good at front-end web development over this year and see where my coding journey goes from there. Maybe possibly find a new career that doesn't involve my current career. As far as tech that I want to buy, there's not a whole lot that I want to buy this year.
I don't think that's true. Like, I mean, you want a new Mac, you want a new Mac, you want a monitor, you want to get a nice setup.
No, hold on. I'm not interested in getting myself a new setup until I'm more invested into the coding world. But as far as like tech that I want to see come out this year, I guess is what I'm really getting at. I do want to see Siri.
That goes into our next topic.
I want to see. Oh wait. Oh, it's fine. It's tech that I want to buy this year. Yeah, I mean, I want a better coding setup. That's kind of. But like I said, I need to get myself more into that world to make that investment worthwhile.
It's a lot. I'll just say it's discipline that takes to do it, because you have to really like to teach yourself something and set aside the time and stuff like that. You just have to put the
Well, and that's the hard part between my family, because I got 4 kids and my 45-hour plus hour a week job. Finding that time has been really hard throughout the holiday season. I virtually had no spare time. We're out of the holiday season. I finally have some more time, which is why now that we're past the holidays, I'm jumping into CSS. I almost didn't. I wanted to start it after I finished HTML basics, but like I said, we got into the holiday season. I knew that if I started it, my time to be actually able to jump into it would be sporadic, and I didn't want to take weeks off of working on something that I just learned, because if I don't keep at it, I'm not going to necessarily maintain the information that I've learned if I don't use it right then and there and cement it in my head.
Yeah, you won't retain it as easy because you're not kind of just working on it little by little.
And I am not hiding from playing with Linux or Raspberry Pis. It's just lower down on my priority list. I'm not super interested in playing with Raspberry Pis because there's not a whole lot that I'm going to personally do with it. As far as playing with Linux, I mean, I played around with Linux back in the day, back when Red Hat and Fedora Core were 2 of the main Linuxes that you would use back before it was even less user-friendly than it is now, and you still had to know command line prompts to play with Linux. This was actually back before Fedora Core and Red Hat were 2 separate entities. They were basically the same operating system, and then they were like, okay, well, this one's going to continue to be free, and this one you actually have to support us and pay money for. I can't remember which one was which. I think Fedora Core was the free one, and Red Hat became the one you had to pay for. But I mean, I played with Linux back in the day. I don't necessarily feel the need to go through and play with Linux again.
Oh man, I just had to turn off my mic because Fedora Core is one of the most amazing games I've ever heard. It's so good. Oh man!
Don't forget to play around with Chrome OS and install Chrome OS on your system.
One credit to Linux is that eventually you'll be able to get like Stadia and Microsoft's streaming services and NVIDIA streaming services probably on Linux. I don't know if I said this. Yeah, Linux, you'll probably be able to get those, play whatever games you want. No more like confusion about what can work or what to install. So I look forward to that for Linux.
I will say there's a couple other things that I added. One thing when Tim brought up the whole learning about servers and stuff like that. I would like to learn how to build my own NAS server. Well, I won't really build it. I'll just buy the system off of like Amazon, but set up my own NAS server at home, just so I can store documents and stuff like that. And then the other thing I would like to do is actually build a PC from scratch. That is one of my goals to do. So I might start buying some parts, well, I'll buy the case. I'm not going to buy the parts because I don't want them to go obsolete by the time I get around to it. So
buying PC parts is like almost like getting a tattoo, where once you like start, you just kind of want to do it like a little bit more and a little bit more.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just the way it's gonna be. But like I because that would give me an option to play like Halo and some of the other games from Microsoft and stuff like that. So I've never really been super big into gaming, but this pandemic is just sometimes I get bored, and it might be fun to try and do that. So yeah, I might come knocking on your door, Tim, and ask questions.
Sounds good.
Or Matt, either of you guys, PC people.
Yeah, I got my new built PC right next to me in this.
Do you have anything? Do you have RGB lighting on it? Or
I have RGB lights on my RAM, and my motherboard has like an RGB strip, and then I got a cooler that has RGB. And the cool thing about my RAM is that when my CPU like heats up and then drops back down, my RAM colors change, so I can like see when there's a heat spike.
Yeah,
it's actually kind of cool.
The lights make your computer go faster as well.
Yes.
Proven.
They're like racing stripes.
Definitely.
on the board. Yeah.
Well, then I'm gonna deck this thing out with RGB lighting. I'm gonna just maximize it. All the RGB lighting I can get. But yeah, like that's something I would like to eventually get going. So hopefully 2021 brings that along.
2021 is hopefully going to bring a lot of stuff. What do you guys think will be the top tech releases of 2021?
Well, I think AirTags will probably come out. I'm sure of that.
And so like the conversation has been like Apple has kind of had it in certain stages of being ready, but hasn't released it.
It's been in the iOS code, like we've known it's been in there for a while. Yeah, I mean it's coming. We just don't know when. It's been built into the code since iOS 13, I think.
It was the last update of iOS 13 had the AirTag code in it.
Yeah. So so I'd like to see that get released in 2021. I would like to see. I already mentioned AirPod Max, like a cheaper version, and then I'd like to see maybe a new iPad this year too. I know we saw iPads last year, but possibly we could see it. And then a new MacBook, maybe 16-inch with the M1, because we have some of the other ones. So, and then maybe an iMac. I'm not an iMac user, but I do know some people who prefer iMacs over like a MacBook or something. So that would be a good tech product. Apple did a lot last year, though. I mean,
yeah, it's like, what do they have left to release?
What do they have left?
Apple TV refresh.
Yeah, Apple TV refresh. Yeah, that would be good too.
I'm calling it now. I think they're going to release iPhone 12s this year.
Yeah, what is going to be?
I think it's going to be in between the mini and
a
12?
portless iPhone.
Or known as the 12S.
Okay. I got to bet with you, Roy. It's not going to be portless.
Right.
I guarantee you.
Oh, Roy you'll think they'll do portless this year?
When they bring out so this isn't if they bring out some mid-year half-tier upgrade. This is when they bring out whatever phone they launch in November.
No, because you said we had this bet before, and you said the next iPhone is going to be portless, and I said no. It's not that it's going to be the next half step up,
You mean like flagship iPhone?
I'm going to go back and look up, because I'm pretty sure I say the next phone they release in a year, which would be their
half
iPhone launch.
Their half version.
That would be their half version. Whatever they release at the end of this year. No, I'm saying because there's been rumors they might release some new iPhone half step up in March as there's been a rumor of that. That doesn't count. Whatever their next full line of iPhone they launch in October, November, that's what I'm talking about. We're gonna see a portless iPhone, I'm telling you.
I bet you $100. No.
We got our bet going. We'll see what happens.
But which do you think it will be I don't even the standard, the number, iPhone 13, or do you think it'll be the 13 Pro or the 13 Pro Max?
Well, I don't think we're going to see a big change to the iPhone because we saw it last year. So I think it's going to be more like Tim says. It's going to be the 12S, the 12S Pro Max, and all that. I don't think the 12S Mini.
If you followed iPhone's naming standards, usually when they go up by one number, it's usually some larger design change of the phone, like the way the phone looks, and then their next year is usually the S line. The S line is usually when they've upgraded some sort of feature on the phone. So, say you got the 5. The 5 was when they made it taller. The 5S is when they introduced Touch ID. For instance, 6. The 6S, I believe, introduced Touch ID, not Touch ID. What was 3D Touch?
3D Touch.
Yeah.
Siri, I think Hey Siri was 6S, but you had to have it plugged in. 7 took away the physical button. They didn't have a 7S. The 8 introduced the new camera chassis.
7 had a button.
No, 7 didn't have the physical button. It had the little touch.
Oh yeah,
sensor.
yeah. Oh yeah, not the physical button. Yeah, you're right.
8 added the extra camera on the back because they didn't have a 7S. There was no 8S. 10S is when they brought out. There was nothing new with 12 the 10S except for the 10S Max, and all they really did was improve the camera and processor. 11 they changed the.
They made a max version. They made a max version of the XS.
Yes, well, I said that.
The 10S,
but the 10S itself was not anything different. With the 11, they changed the entire back of the phone with the camera bump and whatnot, so it looked different design-wise. And then the iPhone 12, they squared off the edges. So their solid numbers are when they do a chassis change, a major chassis change, and then their S line is when they do like a small feature upgrade. And I think Matt's correct because they did the iPhone 12 and it changed the look of the iPhone, that we'll probably see an S line this year, not a solid number upgrade, unless Apple surprises us and they're like, surprise, no notch, or I don't know, something. I'm betting on an S line personally.
I would like to see. I would like to see to be able to start my car and unlock my car from my phone. BMW supports it now. They've supported it since the last version of iOS 13. So I would like to see that maybe roll out to some more cars. I think it's just a software thing. That would be hopefully.
Imagine just starting your car with a fingerprint.
Not even that. You just I just have like a start button in my car. So I would just get in my car. If it detected my iPhone, then bam, boom. So
the thing that makes me most want a Tesla is the ability to turn on your heater without being near your car. So like you can do
that in your car now. It's called a remote start.
I don't have a nice car. That's what
Darren was talking about because he's got a Tesla 3.
I mean, you don't need to get a Tesla to have that feature, Tim. You could just go to a Car Toys or a Best Buy and ask them to put in a remote start in your car.
My car is really dumb. I don't think that would work in my car.
They can do it in almost any car.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah. And a lot cheaper than buying a Tesla.
My friend's probably 98 Suburban, like Chevy Suburban, I think. Big SUV, had a remote start, and that was forever ago. So unless your car is on its last legs, you can probably support one.
I'm waiting for the day, though. I know that Tim talked about in the Slack, he talked about Apple wanting an Apple car. I want to be able to go out there and press a little button on my phone, and then my car just materializes into it.
Yes, Siri too, and Siri messes it up somehow.
Be like, Siri, start or inflate my car or something.
It's an RV. Oh no.
See, Matt says they can remote start his O2 manual CRV. Interesting. That's
nice.
Unique. Good car. For tech releases that I'm looking forward to, not a ton. Hopefully Tesla will release their full self-driving out of beta package in 2021, though I'm not 100% sure that they'll do that. I'm looking forward to them talking about this $25,000 cheap budget Tesla that they've been talking about, but that probably won't even get talked about or announced next year. I'm hoping it will. And then I want Apple AR glasses or some kind of hint, since they seem to be creeping their way into LiDAR sensors and the new, AirPods Max. If it's not this version, then maybe the next version will have in-ear cup biometrics, which seems like they're working their way up the body with this innovative technology, but they just haven't gotten to the AR glasses yet, which I want. And that, for everything that I can think of that I am really looking forward to for at least some news next year, because I don't know, there will be another Pixel that hopefully won't be bad. I guess I'm hoping for that too.
I don't know. I'm
You sound
Let's face it.
sold on the pixel ship.
Roy and I go back and forth on this all the time in our little chat, and
Oh, that's true. The legislative process.
yeah, I don't know that I would probably skip Pixels from now on. I don't know. I was really dissatisfied with the Pixel 5.
They burned you pretty bad, huh?
They did. Like, you don't introduce a feature and then take a feature away. And they keep saying that they're going to bring back Face Unlock, but it's already 2021 and it's not back. Like, if you're going to bring something back, you bring it back like in the next month or so.
Well, see, and that's the thing that gets me. So many other phones have the Face Unlock with the single hole punch camera. There's no reason that Google had to take that out of the Pixel 5. Like, there's no reason it couldn't have been in there. It would not have been as good as the the Project Soli Face Unlock, because that is, in my opinion, like top tier of the Face Unlock experience. But there's no reason they could not have added the Face Unlock, or kept the Face Unlock, sorry, with that single hole punch camera, and had the fingerprints reader on the back. It is literally just a software thing. They could flip and patch it into the Pixel 5 if they really wanted to. There's no reason not to have it. Just say it. Just say it.
Daniel says he wouldn't use Face Unlock. Not secure. I disagree with that. I think Face Unlock is actually pretty secure. I've tried multiple times to fool it. I know that a lot of YouTubers have tried to fool it and have been really good at not doing it.
I think the type of Face Unlock that you use matters too, because there's certain Face Unlocks that are literally basically just looking at.
You're right. I would trust Google. I would trust Samsung. I would trust OnePlus. I would trust Apple. I obviously trust Apple, but I feel like it's pretty secure overall.
Speaking of OnePlus, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing this next year, because they've been absolutely killing it with their devices, in my opinion, the last 2 years. All their devices have been very well, so I'm really curious to see what OnePlus has up their sleeve this next year.
Daniel says pretty secure isn't secure. I get that it's good, not foolproof. Daniel, what do you have on your iPhone or your Android, or what? You have a Pixel. What do you have on your Pixel that you don't want people to see? Like, that just, I don't know. I think it's, I mean, if people got into my iPhone, I wouldn't be too worried, because everything else is blocked out by a lot of different things. So, like, my 1Password has a different password in it. I don't use
You don't use like social media like logins or anything?
Yeah, I do, but everything's stored in my 1Password, and I don't use Face Unlock for my 1Password. And that's where like all my critical data is, and that's end-to-end encryption. So like if somebody got into my iPhone, I wouldn't really worry, because there's not a lot. I mean, I could remotely wipe it, and they couldn't get into my bank account information because they need passwords out of my 1Password, and without having my 1Password password, which is really complicated, it's actually 19 digits long, and it would be pretty hard to get into. So,
and I think I would trust, if the two companies were going to do Face Unlock, I would trust Apple's more, because they have a lot more to lose getting something like that wrong than Google does. I think simply because Apple needs to be as careful as they possibly can, because they've hyped themselves up as this beacon of tech security, and they're already being scrutinized by like every government on the planet. Same thing with Google, but nobody really trusts Google that much as far as like the investigations go. So I think that if like Apple was going to do Face Unlock, I'd probably trust it more, because their engineers would have a lot more to lose if they got it wrong.
Yeah, so supposedly you couldn't even, like, and I don't know that anybody's ever tested this, but even if you're dead, you've been dead for longer than like 3 to 5 minutes, like it can't. You can open the eyes up, and try and do the face unlock, but it won't do it because it registers heat sensors, I believe. I want to say
that is an interesting testing scenario.
Yeah, so I mean, you can tell if like heat's coming off of your body. I'm guessing. I think that's what I kind of read about it. I don't know if that's true or not, but Apple has really gone into that, and I trust Apple with all my things. But like I said, everything that is important that has account numbers, stuff like that, is all in my 1Password, and it's end-to-end encryption. So. Daniel said, "I'd like to actually see that tested in back test."
Like I was thinking about it, and the soft test would be like retrain your face unlock in like Florida or somewhere warm, like south of the equator, and then go to like Antarctica or Alaska and see if it face unlocks. Then you have like a starting point. I feel like. Be hard to come up with the other side of that equation. Testing certain states of bodies. Anyway, so yeah, tech releases for 2021. What are you looking forward to, Tim? I don't believe we got to you. I got super distracted. My dead body testing.
Tech looking forward to. Mostly like what OnePlus has up their sleeve. I'm trying to think of any other companies that I follow.
Last year they came out with like the Titan or something like that, or was it the Trident? I have to look this up. OnePlus.
There was the Nord.
Okay, that's the one.
That was like their return to budget line phones, but the Nord was still a fairly decent phone for what you got. Like that's what OnePlus is known for giving you really good value for your money. Mm-hmm. Unless you want a really good camera, and if you want a really good camera, OnePlus is probably not the company you want to go with.
And the space is super competitive because Apple has the iPhone 12 mini now.
Well, not only that, but you got the iPhone 12 mini. You got the OnePlus is anywhere between their 8 and their 8T. You got the Samsung S20 FE. Like there's a lot of phones that are entering that space, and I think that's a good thing because a lot of phone companies are realizing that there is this space for this line of phones that a lot of people want. That Samsung 20 FE is outselling every other Samsung model out there, because you're basically getting everything from the Samsung S20 with like a slightly, I think the screen's a little bit less. It's I think it's full HD instead of quad HD. I could be wrong on that. And it's got the plastic body and not the glass body. And that's basically it. I mean, that is essentially your biggest differences right there.
And that's what people look for. They look for what they can spend their money on versus like a premium feel with like metal or glass or something. And then when you go for plastic or some type of acrylic, it really doesn't give off that, I need to protect it and be as careful with it. This looks like a budget phone that I'm not getting overcharged for. So what about this Amazon acquires Wondery business?
Yeah, does anybody ever listen to Wondery podcasts? They're like a podcast content provider. There's a few podcasts that I've listened to from Wondery, but Amazon has kind of been jumping into the podcast field, and so they just announced that they are acquiring Wondery, which has a lot of great content for podcast and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what they do with the content creation on there. So there's one podcast, I'll give you one of them that I listen to on a regular basis. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Vanished. It's called The Vanish, and it's basically a podcast about people who vanish and are never heard from again, kind of like unsolved mysteries and stuff like that. It's about a lot of, it's all story based, and they do interviews with the family members and stuff like that, and the law enforcement officials. It's more or less like Unsolved Mysteries, but it's for cases that don't get a lot of attention. They might be homeless people. They might be people with drug abuse, alcohol addiction, stuff like that. Stuff like that. So that's kind of, I listen to that. I used to listen to it on the ferry all the time when I go over, but that's one of the podcasts from Wonderies. But they have a whole bunch. So if you just search Wondery, you'll definitely find a bunch of content from them. So, but Amazon's been working really hard on the podcast, side of things. So it'd be interesting to see what they do on that step. And Amazon, if you want to sponsor our podcast,
Amazon's been really stepping up their content game. I mean, they have Kindle.
They launched a pharmacy too. You can now get your medicines from Amazon.
That's a thing now. I remember they tried that a few years back, and it was a bust.
Yeah, nope, they did it again.
Oh my goodness.
I'm still waiting for my packages to be delivered by drone. I know that they're making some headway with it because they got some licenses in order to do it. But that is something that I would like to see in maybe 2021 is a drone drop off a package.
I think we'll get their fleet of self-driving cars before then.
Well, so Amazon just launched a new warehouse out here.
Electric cars, not technically self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
They launched a new distributing center out here in Bremerton, which is closest to where I live. And they used to send everything to USPS, and they've slowly been sending it to the distribution center. And the Amazon drivers now come out there and drop off my packages. So it's actually been really nice. I've been getting my packages a lot earlier rather than 9:00 at night. And if you open up the app when they're getting close to you, it'll tell you how many stops away they are.
I love that feature.
Isn't that awesome?
The best.
USPS says anytime between 8 and 9:00 at night. I'm like, are you kidding me? Come on. You're waiting
if you get any tracking from them to begin with.
Well, I get tracking from them all the time. I just I get a USPS tracking thing, but they just don't really give me the date and time or the time of when it's going to come. Apple or Amazon gives me a window between 11 and 3. And then when it gets close, it says the driver is, 8 stops away and pull up the app and it's right there. So.
And they got every
Daniel
distribution time down.
Yeah. Daniel
2
says
hours. Go ahead.
Sorry. Daniel says it's the government. I think he's referring to the government licensing for the drones. They
the USPS and the way they work.
No, they the government. Yeah, you're right. But the FCC or the FAA gave licenses to Amazon and USPS or UPS to allow them to deliver by drone. So I think that's gonna happen soon. But
that'd be exciting.
It will. So there we have it.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
All right. I actually did want to ask, what do you guys use to listen to podcasts?
I use Apple Podcasts.
That's what I use. It's built in there. It's fairly easy to use.
Easy. And it works with my car, so in CarPlay. So I could use Spotify or I could use, iHeartRadio and stuff like that. I do listen to some things on iHeartRadio that are not available on Apple, but for the most part, it's Apple.
Listen to Google Podcasts. Before that, it was Google Play. And then Google Podcast came out and it was way better. So it's all Google Podcasts now.
And this is a good time to promote our podcast. If you are listening to your podcast, you can get your podcast in your favorite podcasting app. Just search for the Gooplecast. And you can get the podcast form version of it. Usually comes out the day after our live video. So what do you use, Matt?
I use YouTube. Any podcasts that are on YouTube, I listen to on there.
What if it's not on YouTube?
Then I don't have it. I listen to like books through. I know it's terrible. I listen to books through Audible and through like the local library app. You get like, what is it? Overdrive is what we have. You can get audiobooks from your local library. So I listen to that and I listen to YouTube.
How come you don't have a podcasting app? I'm just curious.
I used to listen
too much space on your phone.
A lot. Well, I used to listen to podcasts a lot, and then I was on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Game podcast when I was doing that, and then my favorite podcast kind of just stopped being interesting to listen to because a lot of changes were happening with the company, and that kind of soured the experience for podcasts for me. And then since it has like skyrocketed in popularity since that time, I actually haven't really gotten back into podcasts yet. I listened to the Night Vale podcast, if you guys are familiar with that, like Welcome to Night Vale. It's like a narrative, fictional podcast that's been going on for forever now. And it's kind of like what was it, Twin Peaks, like Cthulhu, kind of strange city, strange town. Lots of things are happening in it. Narrative podcast that was really cool, but that at the time was like 300 episodes or something like that, and I was like, too much to catch up on, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I'll see you later. Yeah, so that's my podcast shtick.
Matt in the comments says Apple Podcasts, and he usually downloads them on Wi-Fi so he doesn't have to stream them. I do the same thing, just quicker to get them downloaded. And I think I have a lot of mine are set to auto download, which is one of the features I like about Apple. I don't know if you can do that with Google and the other ones, but.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on this episode of the Gooply Cast. You'll be able to find our replays on YouTube. And, like Matt said, the podcast version of our episodes on all your favorite podcasting apps, including iHeartRadio. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook for updates on the podcast and to be notified of our video reviews. I've been your host, Matt Carter, with Matt, Roy, and Tim. Thank you for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Gooply Cast.
Thanks for listening to the Gooply Cast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate our podcast. Visit us on social media at Gooply. And remember, you can stream the Gooply Cast on your favorite podcasting app or gooply.com.